and just say to yourself, like, what do I really want? And focus a little bit more this time on what do I really want with my fitness, like my health. Because a woman who has health has 1,000 dreams. A woman who doesn't have health has but one, right? So go back and say to yourself, like, what's my dream about this?
That's me chatting with fitness and consistency expert and friend Kelly Howard. Today on Living Big Mindfully, we are doing something a little bit different and a little bit fun, and there's going to be an announcement. So grab a seat and listen in as Kelly and I chat about many aspects of wellness, our collaboration, and all the wild and crazy things we have in store for you this year. We start off with sharing a little bit about us, our story, our personal whys, how we got together, and our hopes for you and us for the coming year. We chat about some of our favorite tips and strategies for fitness, developing that never too late mindset, and cultivating emotional wellness. Plus, you'll get an inside scoop and an invite to our Women's Wellness Expo to be held in Houston, Texas. Space is limited, so make sure you get signed up today. And no surprise, we wrap it all up with some helpful mind-body tips and strategies to help you on your way into the new year. Kelly and I are so aligned, especially on the importance of physical health, emotional fitness, and our desire to connect and build supportive, healthy communities. I'm excited and grateful to be working with Kelly. What a gift. And who knows where this journey will take us all. So please reach out. Let us know what you need. Let us know what you're interested in. And be sure to save your seat at the Expo. All the links, everything you need to know is in the show notes. Okay, here is our conversation.
Well, hey, Kate.
Hi, how are you?
I am great. So I'm going to just lead since I have such a big mouth. Today, what we're doing is something completely different. Okay. And for those of y'all listening, Kate's going to explain it too. But in fact, I think Kate came up with this idea. She said, when we do interviews, people listen. Like always, our episode drops go up. And it's really interesting when the two of us are on together. And she said, why not just do like a quarterly state of fitness life? And I went, cool. So Kate, take it away.
Yeah, so it's so good to see you. And I have to tell you, Kelly and I have connected over a couple of podcasts. And like she said, those episodes have really gone down well with listeners, a lot of great feedback. So I reached out to her. I don't know, I had this kind of wild, crazy idea and reached out to her, and she was totally willing to jump on board. So we've got some fun things planned for everybody out there. We've got some really fun things focused around health and fitness, fitness, kind of physical fitness, and also emotional fitness, because that's a big topic, right? Being well, living authentically, really trying to kind of own your own power and find your voice. And I think that's what's so cool about our collaboration, right? Because you've got the strong fitness lens and I have a really strong emotional fitness lens, all about kind of mindset and changing limiting beliefs. And so I am excited about kind of diving in and working together a little bit.
Oh yeah, me too. And I have to tell you, I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before, but when Kate reached out to me recently, maybe let's call it a couple of months ago, she was like, I'm going to be in Texas. And now Texas is a big state, guys. If you don't live here, you don't realize the enormity of Texas. It takes 2 days to drive across it. She says, I'm going to be in Texas. You want to go for a hike? And I'm like, sure. I'm thinking, well, she's going to be in Houston. And she's like, I'm going to be in Dallas. I went, but that's like 4 hours away. She's like, I don't care. I like to drive. I went, well, I like to drive too, but you can drive here. So we've never met before. We meet in a bar as she drives because we wanted to look at something. And then Kate spent the night with me. And the next day we spent the day romping through the woods and we had a blast. And we just like, it was so much fun to connect with another person who's like really into this whole idea of fitness. And that's what's in this for y'all today, is that it's not just listening to Kelly and Kate talk about, like a conversation we would have normally, but it's also like, what do we see coming up this year? What do we see that people need? What do we see that we can actually offer? And that's one of the
Yeah.
cool things when you connect with somebody who's super like-minded, and we all know that community matters. Like, boom, it makes such a difference. And so now I've got this new friend who flies in and we spend the night and go romp in the woods. So thank you for doing
Yeah.
that so much.
Yeah. No, it was a lot of fun, and Kelly was kind of so gracious, and we have a lot of the similar mannerisms. It was kind of odd, right? I felt really comfortable in her home and her flow and her energy, and we even eat the same funky bread in the morning. Like nobody eats the Ezekiel bread in the morning, and she's like, "Oh
Right.
yeah, please, that would be great."
Right. I mean, that is funny, isn't it? People are like, what did you just give me, Kelly? Cardboard? You're like, oh, I love cardboard.
That food thing, right, is such a big part of our wellness. We have to think about wellness in the whole, right? Mind, body, soul, what we put into it, how we use it, the thoughts that are floating around in our brains. I mean, this fitness thing is just so much more than fitness. I mean, we have to look at the whole person. And I think that's what I'm about this year. I'm all about living intentionally. That's what my podcast is about. All of my work is about really helping people live intentionally, like what's important to them, how to begin to own their voice, how to begin to own their power, how to really craft a life that, a well-lived life, right? An intentional, well-lived life. So when you're at the end of it, you can just like look back with a lot of kind of warmth and not a lot of regret.
Right. Yeah, it's so interesting because you're so true there, because life is going to happen one way or the other. We're here, and the way we live, whether it's like living intentionally in the way our thoughts, or living intentionally in our bodies and like really relishing them. Like, I just had a client, and this is kind of an aside, but I loved what she said. We were talking, and she said, we were talking about, doing the right thing for our body. And what she said was, she's like, sometimes I feel bad because I kind of think that there have been some things I've done that weren't great for my body. And what I said to her was that, wow, what a great way to look at it, because a lot of us look at our bodies and go, hey, you're not being that great for me. And the truth is it's
Mm,
up to us, right? It's up to us to like really take our bodies and do what we can with our bodies, do what we can with our minds, with our emotions, with everything that's
mhm.
going on, because this is it. I think at
This is it.
30, you could kind of think this might be a dress rehearsal, but now I'm 60, I'm actually 63. Let's like go full disclosure here. It's not a dress rehearsal, right? It's like you got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's also neat. So there's one thing I want to say about that comment. I want to also add, if I could add a little bit to that, and
Yeah.
that would be what's so cool, even if we haven't treated our bodies so well, right? Even if we've, whatever, we haven't eaten so well, we haven't exercised, whatever, we still get a choice today, and bodies heal, right? We are healing machines. The muscles heal, the skin heals, the internal organs heal, right? We get over colds, we fight off viruses. Our bodies are incredible healing machines. So it's really, even though we may not have been, pretty active, or diet's been off or whatever, we still get the opportunity to change, and our bodies will respond. It's amazing, just
It,
amazing.
it is amazing. And that leads to me thinking about one thing. I had another client I was talking to, and she's a few years older than us. And she's always been relatively inactive, not terribly out of shape, just inactive. And when we were talking, she just like looks at me and she goes, Kelly, can I really change? Will I really change my body doing these things? Which, of course, poor thing, she doesn't know me that well at the time. And I was like, oh, well, let me just send you some information, right? So like I deep dive into all the studies I have, and all the information I have showing all these different people and studies, not just individuals, but studies of what happens when you apply. What happens when you really apply fitness, mental health, like, all of those things, intentional living. It's shocking. Like, these bodies are made to heal. You're exactly right.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And honestly, kind of switching gears, going back to that, what do we want for the year, right? What do we want personally? What do we want collectively? What do we want as a collaboration? What do we want from our communities, right? When we think about that, there's three things. I want to help people. I want to support people really craft intentional lives. And I want to impact more people. And when I say people, mostly women, right? My demographic is women, 40, 45, 50 and up. But I really want people to impact people to live their best lives. I'm also 60. I'm going to be 61 this year. And I have to tell you, I have never been happier, healthier, or stronger. Never. I've been through a lot in my life, early childhood, adolescence, early adult. It's been a kind of a shit show in lots of ways. But right now, as I sit and talk to you, I have so much gratitude. And I really have never been healthier physically, mentally, in my heart, right? I have never felt healthier. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. Trust me. I am no superhero.
I get it. Trust me. I've had some of those roads.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And it is true. Like, when I say my age, eh, and people will be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ask. I'm like, I couldn't care less because like inside in my head, I'm probably 8 years old. Um, right. Like, and the reality is though, is that life has gotten better and better and better. And not just life, but in a lot of ways, my health, and even if it's not improving, like, exponentially, like,
Mhm.
yeah, I've got more wrinkles than I used to have, but
Mhm.
it doesn't matter because the way I feel is better than I felt, like I have less aches and pains than I did 20 years ago. Like
Mhm.
20 years ago, I was an Advil eating queen. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, there were so many aches and pains in my body. And it's not that I quit doing anything. It's just that I got smarter about how I did it.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
and my body, adjusted to what was going on.
Right.
So,
And that's the thing. That's exactly the thing. The body will adjust whether you're feeding it junk in the way of food and sitting on the couch or really stinking thinking. If you're feeding it junk, it's going to respond to that. But if you're
right.
feeding it more helpful, kind of enlightening, positive things, it's going to respond to that too. So again, we do get a choice. We do get a choice at some point.
We do. We do. And so so what our thoughts are for this year, like a couple of them that like always for me, it's always been like, how can I give hope and possibility? Right? Like I was absolutely the anti-cheerleader in school. Like I was the last person you would ever pick to be a cheerleader. But over my life, I've come to realize that this is what I do. Like, I am about like cheering people on and, finding those things that work and giving them hope and possibility. And if we asked everybody on here, like, it's not just about like what we want to do, like what is everybody listening want to do
Yeah.
this year? Because I think there is power in a new year. Even though I'm always telling people, don't let it get to you. Don't fall for the whole New Year's resolution thing. So
Yeah.
Kelly's talking two stories, but the truth is there is power in a new year.
There is
And
absolutely.
so, throwing that out to everybody listening and going, hey, oh, what do you want for this year?
Yeah,
What do you want for this one precious 2024 that we have?
right. Yeah, what do you see for yourself? Right? If you let's do an exercise for just a moment for listeners out there. Just kind of take a second, kind of close your eyes, kind of take a breath, kind of get grounded into your body, grounded into your feet, and just kind of sit with that for a moment and ask yourself, what is really important for me this year? What do I really, in my heart of hearts, kind of see for myself? And just wait for a moment and I'm going to snap my fingers, and whatever comes up into your mind, grab an image of that and write that down because it's probably super important to you. So, Kelly, what came up for you? I'm curious.
Peace and joy.
Ah, beautiful. Love
Yeah.
that. Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
that comes
listeners
in a
out
lot of
there,
ways, right? Oh, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, so listeners out there, I want to know what came up for you. So DM us or email us or let us know because we want to help kind of inspire, encourage, and support you on this journey, whether it's the fitness piece or the emotional fitness piece. Just let us know, and let's build some community, and let's have the best year ever.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, and years can get just better and better and better. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really actually believe that. It's not that I just say that to people. And sometimes people, I think they think that I just say that. I actually think that we can get better and better and better.
Yeah.
And better is a big word.
Yeah.
There's a lot to better, right? But
Mm-hmm.
each of us has something, for
Mm-hmm.
me, more
Mm-hmm.
peace and joy. I mean, I have a lot of joy in my life. I have a lot of peace in my life. But
Mm-hmm.
if I think about it, and if I can make that exponential,
Mm-hmm.
then it goes to what you speak about, like the mental well-being. It goes to
Mm-hmm.
what I speak about, because when you're joyful, you get to play more.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're playing, you're typically in more joy. So it's like
Absolutely.
it all works. And I believe that we really do get better and
Yeah.
can get better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I want to jump in on that because I'm not kind of gloating or tooting my own horn here, but I have to tell you, at 55, I started backpacking, right? The first time ever I started backpacking. And since then, I've hiked and backpacked hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles. I wrote my first book at like 57. And since then, I've written 3 or 4 books. I started a podcast at 60, right? And it's been a blast and I'm learning so much, and I've traveled so much more in the last, 3 or 4 years. I've been, Spain, Portugal, Dominican Republic, blah, 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 blah. Been out to see Kelly, right? So, and again, I don't have any special superpowers. I don't have an unlimited bank account, trust me. But where there's an intention, right? Where there's a really clear intention, the energy just follows. And I just really want listeners to hear that. I really, really do. And again, if you want help with that, help crafting a clear intention, then please reach out. Let us know how we can help. Because again, we are here for you.
Yeah, it is true. And the podcast is fun, obviously, right? I
Yeah.
mean, because like my favorite thing, and everybody's heard me say it if you've listened to this podcast at all, is meeting the cool people I get to meet. And the other side of it though is actually touching lives. And that
Yeah.
it sounds a little bit like horn tooting, right? But it's true. Like when you connect with people like you, when I got to connect with you and then bring you out to the world, and vice versa. And sometimes you just say the right thing. You say it, I say it, maybe a good friend says it. But when we just hear that right thing that matters, it
Mhm.
shifts everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also love podcasts and also kind of communities, Facebook communities, things like mastermind groups, as long as they're not paid. I'm not a big fan of pay to play, but what I love about them is they're no cost resources, right? They're available to everybody, right? They're so accessible, whether you're walking or running or in the car or cleaning or doing laundry, and you can pick up beautiful, beautiful pearls of wisdom, right, from conversations. So they're a great resource and a ton of fun. Ton of
They
fun.
are. And okay, now I have to say something about the pay to play.
Okay.
Because Kate and I have something coming up in March, and it is a pay to play. So, like,
It
full
is.
disclosure, guys,
It
it's
is.
not always everything free. But so Kate came to me with this idea. You tell him, because I think it's a cool
Okay.
idea, and we're going to
Okay.
run with it.
So I'm gonna tell them, if we have time, I'm gonna tell them the whole story. This is just the way I work, right? And I don't know, I was working out one day in the basement, I think on the rower or something. And I literally got this kind of, and it's the same way for me for books, right? Books just kind of come to me. So I literally got this download of information around, I want to do this expo. I want to do a women's wellness expo. And I see one in the spring, one in the fall, collaborating with Kelly. Like Kelly was in my like kind of vision or whatever this was. And it's like I'm sitting there on the row and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. I stopped, I jotted down some notes, literally designed the whole thing in my head in like I don't know, again, just came to me. And it's like, okay, I'm going to have to reach out to Kelly. I'm going to have to reach. And I really didn't know her that well. We connected on the podcast, but she's not like a best buddy or anything, but it felt like she was a person. It's like, took a few breaths. And I think I texted you. And I said, hey, I just had this crazy thing happen. I want to do this wellness event. I want to focus on women, breakout sessions and like this practice and play that people can really come in and try things, right? Try yoga, try Pilates, try the boxing bag. I mean, I even imagine a climbing wall if we can ever get a big enough place. And then these beautiful breakout sessions, which really are all about kind of creating little communities of 20, 25 women where the speaker comes in and you get super intimate with the speaker in these breakout sessions, and there's a give and take, right? You're listening, but there's also feedback and time for questions, more intimate little groups. And doing that for a day, having some great food and some music. And Kelly had this great idea of an after party, and I'm not a big partier. So for me, it's like, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. So the energy ran with it. I texted her, we set up a Zoom call, and, it's all happening, right? I think we have a date, right? Do we have a date?
We have a date. The date is March 16th. And then there's going to be a special event on the 17th for those people who want to kind of like one up this whole thing. And we are going to do it in Houston because Houston, Texas is so stinking big. We have, all the resources here, including 2 airports. And so, yes, and we have people already saying, we're in, we're flying in, we're coming. We have speakers set up. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, I haven't done an event like this in a long time, but we're anticipating that we'll have a really great community of women there for you to meet. I'm guessing we'll have over 100 women for when I say for you to meet, I mean, like whomever you are that's listening, plan on coming because I have gone away. Okay. Story time. I've done over the years, I've gone to a lot of like entrepreneurial conventions. So I go somewhere and I meet other people who are in business for themselves. And I have friends that I have had for 10, 15, 20 years that I meet at these conventions. And I like right at this moment, I'm thinking of a good friend who's been on this podcast before, Lori. And I met Lori at this convention. She's like, hey, you want to have dinner? I'm like, sure, let's have dinner. And next thing I know, I've got this best buddy who lives in Canada. And so you just meet cool people. And this is women only, nothing wrong with guys, but women only. And you're going to meet great women. And you're going to get to do a lot of things that you wouldn't normally get to do. And maybe we'll go climb at the climbing wall before the party.
Maybe, I don't know. The climbing wall, one day we'll have a big enough event to get a big old climbing wall in there. Might not be the first time around, but just come prepared, come in comfy clothes because I want you to have hands on everything. And I love that image, right? It's like being a kid in the sandbox, being a kid in the playground. That's what I want you to come with, this open mind, come with this open energy, get ready to really practice and play. And you'll walk away with a whole new mindset, a whole new set of skills. You'll get to try some things that you haven't even tried before. And you're going to have your eyes open. I just really trust that it's just going to be a blast. Kelly's going to speak. She's going to do her thing. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to speak it. I'm going to do a breakout session. I haven't decided. I'm better in small groups, but we'll see. We've got some really cool speakers lined up already. We've got some great hands-on things planned for you. We're going to have a lunch. It's going to be all about connection, support, inspiring, and community. And I'm so excited. So again, March 16th, save the date. And get ready for more information.
Yeah. And I would say that in show notes for on both of our sites, the show notes with this podcast or conversation, whatever we're calling it, the chat. I think we're calling this the K&K chat. In those show notes, we will have a link that you can click just to get your name on the list, right? I mean, obviously we're a couple of months away, but we all know time
Yeah.
flies.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
time's
seats
like,
are limited. Yeah, so seats are limited, but it's not seats. There's not much sitting. There's going to be more playing, but the
yeah,
space is
spaces.
limited.
It's definitely limited.
Definitely get your name on an interest list, and then we'll get information out to you as we get it.
Of course. Of course. And we're just going to have fun, right? It's like we were talking about
We
a
have a
minute ago.
blast.
Joy, play.
Mhm.
There you go. I'm already going to get to hit my
Yeah,
24 before I even get a quarter into the year. So thank y'all.
yeah, yeah. So Kelly, if you could give a listener a tip, right? Some kind of tip or strategy, because my show is all about tips and strategies for just kind of the consistency, or as you start out into this new year, maybe somebody out there is taking some first steps, not quite sure where to start. What are a couple of tips
Oh,
you
yeah.
might
Yeah. Okay. I have a couple and probably more than a couple, but I'll keep it short. So when y'all are listening to this, it's the beginning of the year. And there is, I mean, we were talking about this before we went live. There is a touch of magic that happens, even though I am the first person to say, don't fall for New Year's resolutions. There is a touch of magic that happens with that new year. But, and I'm going to put a button there because it's a truism, is that a lot of times people start really strong in the new year. And then what I see is about the week 3, things start dropping off. It's like, I can't keep this up. I don't have time to do all these things I know I'm supposed to do. So, first step, take a deep breath. like Kate said a minute ago, take a deep breath. And then give yourself the gift of 3 things. One of them is go back to that small, quick exercise that Kate walked us through. And just say to yourself, like, what do I really want? And focus a little bit more this time on what do I really want with my fitness, like my health. Because a woman who has health has 1,000 dreams. A woman who doesn't have health has but one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So go back and say to yourself, like, what's my dream about this? And then don't let perfection get in your way. So many times people are like, I have no idea where to start. Just start small. And a lot of times when I say that to somebody, I hear, but I don't have time to start small. I haven't been doing this for a number of years. And the truth is that you have to start small. Just start small. Just go for a walk, do something. Get on one of our calendars and just I mean, I'm pretty sure Kate's the same way. You can get on our calendar with us and just do a quick 20-minute chat and we'll give you some suggestions. But just start small. And whenever you get off track, grant yourself grace and then come back. Grant yourself grace and come back. This is not about perfection. It's about life. It is a long game. So fitness, and I'm sure that Kate's going to say something to that, but fitness is a long game. And we just have to keep moving forward consistently, like I love to say. And if you have, and if you can, find that touch of adventure that gets you excited, something you love to do. How about you, Kate? What are your tips?
Yeah. So for me, again, it's this, I love this expression, emotional fitness, right? I think it's just so important to start to try and learn to live in what I call upper body feelings, right? If you think about the body, right, we've got lower body feelings. And if you think about those as the heavier feelings, like the worry, the anxiety, the weight, the dread, the fear, right? Those are lower body feelings. And learning, again, this ton of exercise, a ton of practice, a ton of work we can do together to kind of start to move into more upper body feelings. And those are the lighter feelings, like the joy, the creativity, the awe, the wonder, the fizziness of life, right? When you kind of you get to feel excited about something, really trying to start to work on those upper body feelings. And again, there's so many ways you can begin to do that. It could be body work, it could be massage, it could be mindfulness meditation, it could be visualization, it could be a chakra cleaning, it could be therapy, it could be, so many ways to be able to shift shift our energies, right? And if we can shift our energy into a more kind of creative, kind of loving, kind of heart space, right? I mean, the world is your oyster, right? When you can wake up most days and just think, wow, what am I going to dive into today? How am I going to play in this playground that we've been gifted, right? I mean, look at the world we live in. It's amazing. And just really working to develop a little more of that energy. It's powerful and such a gift. And nobody can take that from you, right? Nobody, we can create that and nobody can take that from us. Yeah, so I guess that's kind of what I would suggest to people. And I know that sounds like really woo and out there, but there are some really specific steps and paths to begin to create more of that upper body energy.
I love it. And okay, I'm all about the woo. And I've never heard it said upper body because I always think about I always say like higher vibration. And when I say that, I'm thinking, oh, okay, now that's really woo, Kelly. All right. But you're right. If you think about it, lower body is the stuff that it's the shame and the guilt, and it's the stuff that makes us heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And so upper body is the stuff that lifts us up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The things that raise us up. And it's a whole lot easier, like a whole lot easier to do all the things that you want to do, like, work out and journal and all those other things that you want to do when you're living in upper body.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And I can talk about so much more, like, adding body posture and, really connecting with that heartfelt space. But again, anybody that wants any help or any guidance, please DM, reach out. We're here to help, right? We're here to help, guide, support, and just impact people. Yeah.
Yeah. And come to the expo.
And come to the expo because you're going to get all that, right? I'm going to do some kind of individual thing. I just feel cool to do it. So yeah, come to the expo. You'll get some one-on-one in a small group setting and we can absolutely work on that. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll do something around, working on this upper body energy and helping people connect with that. That would be pretty fun. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. See, this is how Kate and I do things.
That's right. It's just like, yeah, it's fantastic.
Thanks for listening in on our conversation.
That's right. That is absolutely one.
So, Kate, let me ask you a really quick question before we wrap. At the end of each of my episodes, I want to give people like 3 action steps. So I think that what the action steps should be, but you tell me if I'm on track. The first one is do the exercise that Kate talked about earlier, because we can't always do these when we're listening to podcasts, right? Like we may be driving, like I drive and listen to podcasts a lot. So just stop and we'll make sure in the show notes that little piece of exercise is in there so you can read it and do it very quick. Do that because that's going to connect you to those upper body energies, like faster than anything, probably. Then take a moment and just say, what do I want for, and this is for me, all about me. What do I want for my fitness this year? Like, what do I want? Like, if I'm realizing that this is a long game, that this is not one and done, right? At one time in our life, I think fitness was about let's lose 20 pounds and then we're done. It's not like that, guys. We all know this now. We're a lot smarter than that. It's about like, what do I want to be able to do with the rest of my life? So like write that down from a fitness standpoint and then take it one step further. And Kate, you do that last one because this is your spot. What's their next step after that?
Yeah, honestly, I would say write it down. I would literally let's write it down, like get a piece of paper, put a line down the middle, put your hope down. And then this might sound a little counterintuitive. Then start to think about all the barriers. List all the barriers. And then on another piece of paper or a third column, I want you to come up with a solution for those barriers, right? So the barriers, I don't have time, or I don't know, who's going to watch the kids, or it's too cold outside, or blah, 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 right? So come up with the barriers. Let's challenge ourselves, come up with the barriers, and then let's come up with a solution to the barriers. It's so powerful, so powerful. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
that's brilliant.
then put that list on the fridge. so you can
All
see
right.
it. Yes.
Put it
Yes.
somewhere where you can see it because, yeah, out of sight, out of mind. Nope.
That's right.
Not this
That's
year.
right.
In our
Yeah.
face, 24.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all so much for listening. Kate, is there anything that you'd like to add before we wrap?
I do want to add, I do have just written a new ebook, a free ebook. I love to give resources. So this is 12 ways to calm your nervous system, right? And again, this is another way you can begin to access some of that upper body energy that we talked about. It's completely free. It's a little ebook. So jump on to katechampionauthor.com/books and get your free ebook, 12 Ways to Calm Your Nervous System. It's a beautiful little book. I love it. And it's helped a lot of people already. So grab your copy and then let me know if you have any questions.
Okay. And once again, your website is katechampion.com.
katechampionauthor.com/books for that little ebook. Yeah.
For the little ebook, or just if you want to hear all the awesomeness Kate has, katechampionauthor.com. And then you can find me again at fitisfreedom.com, and that's fitisfreedom.com. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here, Kate. This was a great idea. I appreciate it so much.
We're going to be back in February. We're going to do another joint fit thing in February. So stay tuned.
See y'all. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. I truly appreciate you and your time. I love to hear from listeners, so connect with me at katechampionauthor.com. Remember to grab your free hiking guide, and please take a quick moment to rate, review, and subscribe to the show. Thanks so much. Take care. Until next time. Hey, me again. Just a reminder, this podcast should not be considered professional advice. It's also not a substitute for mental, physical, or any other healthcare-related treatment. For any questions about your condition and/or concerns, please contact a fully licensed healthcare professional. Thank you.